Okay, Mike, I think you're up next here. Mike and Clay. Okay.
I did want to mention that too that Sandy isn't going anywhere. She and Chris will, of course, still be around. We just won't burden her with all of our financial details any longer. So, and I think you're going to be filling in. Where'd you go? In Sandy in Toddler's Campus. There you go. Hey, there's no electioneering. Come on. All right. We wanted to make you aware of another personnel change that actually we're really excited about. And that is that as of May 1st, Dave Steele will be full-time here, which is extremely exciting. Yeah, that's the right reaction. I'm excited for him, excited for Jolene, and I just wanted to give a little reflection on what that means and why that excites us. I think first of all, for those of you who have gotten to know Dave, we got the right man for the job, and he is humble, he is gentle, he is tactful, he's a strategic thinker. See, he's a perfect complement to Mike. I had that in my notes here. Yeah. But you know, if you've gotten to know Dave is a wonderful addition and an asset, and has become a close friend as well. And I've come to appreciate him an awful lot. You may remember that we had originally hoped for a full-time position. We brought that vote before you several years ago, and as a congregation, we were split right down the middle. We just didn't feel like it was the right thing at the time to bring on a full-time position. But yet the need was still there, and the desire was still there. And we then came back to it and said, well, let's try for a part-time position. Well, I'm guessing the odds are pretty long that you get a doctoral candidate with a lot of experience for a part-time position. But that's exactly what we got in Dave. And we got a man with a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge in discipleship, specifically in that area, who was willing, he and Jolene, to move their family out here from Philly and fill that role. So that's part of it. And now they have been here 2 years, and we all have embraced them and seen the fruit of his ministry already, and Jolene's ministry as well. She's been teaching and doing a variety of roles here. And Dave has really refined our ABF structure and our small groups, and things are just humming along. A lot more of us are involved in those ministries now than were involved before, and I'm just thankful for that. So, but we've never lost that sense that we wanted him to go full-time. Our hope was that after the gift ran out, if you recall, that covered those first 2 years, that not only would we be able to keep him on, but that eventually we would be able to bring him on full-time. And as you'll see, Trussell will bring the financials a little later. But not only can we do that, we can bring him on full-time and still have a balanced budget, a very reasonable budget at that. So praise God for his provision, and to you guys for your faithfulness in giving and making that possible. His new title is going to be Pastor of Discipleship and Leadership Development. And that's a very critical piece. His focus thus far has been mostly on the discipleship aspects, the ABFs, the small groups, that sort of thing. But our hope is that he can really take ministry at First Baptist Church to an entirely different level. And certainly part of that is implementing new ministries, new initiatives. There's discussion about men's ministries and getting that up and rolling again, and other initiatives. But one of the big pieces that we are hoping that Dave can focus on is this leadership development aspect, and that's why it's in his title. That leadership development is not just an afterthought, but it's something that we do effectively and intentionally. Now, he's already been doing some of that with small group leaders and coaches, ABF leaders. There's already been quite a bit of leadership development even in those pieces. But one of the things we're hoping is to really take that to a different level, that as in Ephesians 4, it talks about pastors training people for the work of the ministry, and that Dave's role would fulfill that function here. We've talked a lot, the word equipping has come up a lot in the role of First Baptist Church, where God has placed us in this geographic location, the people that are here, and I think that can be a very large part of what we do here, is equipping people for the work of the ministry. We have can think of all the high school students that are coming through that have an interest in going into ministry. We've got college students pouring in the doors every week, many of them going into ministry roles. We have people who come here heading on their way toward the mission field. Maybe they're at Wheaton for grad school that become part of this congregation that are headed toward ministry. And then our own staff. We have several young staff that are developing up. There's people like even myself that have a desire. I feel God put in ministry in my heart down the road. And so there's all kinds of opportunities for leadership development. And that is actually a huge piece of what we're hoping Dave can do. We just want to make you aware of one thing. One thing we're looking at in this regard is a school called Antioch that provides church-based master's level, both bachelor's and master's level training, ministry and theological training. And that would be something that we're looking at Dave possibly managing that and facilitating that for those who might be interested. And so that would be a program that would really, to actually be able to offer a master's level theological program in a church setting is, well, it's unheard of. It's a new model, and it's something we're extremely interested in. But that would really take our leadership development to an entirely new level. Several of our staff members, our staff guys, are interested in that program, and so that's something we're looking into. But all said, I think that his new title, I really appreciate it. It kind of sums up what we're hoping that Dave can help us with in the years ahead, and that is a focus on discipleship, which he has been doing, and then continuing to add leadership development to that piece. So.
And obviously there are other things that down the road we'd like to see Dave engage in. I would imagine that for some of you there are things that you'd like to see him do as well. So what he has indicated, maybe Dave, when you get a chance to talk, you'll be able to invite people to come and share with him your burden, your passion for this or for that, and then try to work with him as far as how do we strengthen and develop our ministry in that regard. As senior guy, I so much appreciate having Dave as part of the team. One of the memorable workshops that I was at the Willow Creek Leadership Summit was the whole issue of what they call the second chair. That the hardest position for a church to fill is the second chair, because no one wants to do that job for the most part. Most people want the first chair. And Dave very graciously, very wonderfully says, no, I want to fill and do the best job I can in the second chair. Now, what's so nice is that Dave is very outgoing, as Clay has indicated, which compliments me because I'm very shy. Dave is very boisterous, and I'm very quiet. Dave is very smart. No, wait a minute, this isn't going the way I wanted it to go. But we complement each other wonderfully well. So we'll give you a chance a little bit later to check in, but we are glad for that. Relative to our vision, one of the things that I've set for my priority and what I'm wanting to encourage not only our leadership but the congregation is that this year we need to really hone and specify what we believe God is calling First Baptist Church to be and to do. Now you might say, well, we got a vision, making disciples. Yes, but what does that look like in the long term? Where are we going to go with this? And let me kind of explain to you, there's different ways that churches go about this. You're aware that there are churches who become what I would call campus-centric in their ministry. Anybody here been up to the Willow Creek campus? I mean, it's phenomenal what they have done and what they can do on that acreage that they have on South Barrington Road. So they have really focused in on developing a campus for a comprehensive ministry. That's one way we could do life as a church. This property becomes our focus, and we develop it as far as God will let us develop it. That's one vision. An alternative would be to say, no, this is the sending center, but ministry happens out in the neighborhoods. And that our vision is to be a church of lots and lots of small churches that meet in Wheaton and Carroll Stream and Naperville and West Chicago, and that becomes our vision, because we see these things happening down the road. What we're asking is that you be thinking and praying about this, and that if you've got ideas, send an email to those who are in leadership. Talk with me, talk with each other, because we really need to begin to hone, is it centered here? Is it centered there, or some variation thereof? We need to get clear as far as the vision that God is calling us to pursue in the coming years. Okay? We believe Dave is part of that. And was there anything else? You had mentioned something else that I should remember to... I covered it? Okay. So thank you very much, and I'll turn it back to Dave.